talk about kind of the philosophy of taxes. You have what's called supply side economics, okay, which generally what people feel, and this is what we did under Reagan, this is what we did under Trump in his first year of his presidency, was we cut taxes, okay? And the idea is if you cut taxes on everybody, and even the wealthy, what you do is you spur investment. So people have more money left in their pocket, yes? Because they're not giving it to the government, okay? And the idea is that you will spend that money or you will invest that money and create wealth with that, create growth, okay, economic growth. Okay, that's called supply side economics. Cut taxes. If you are a small business owner and you keep more of your money, then maybe you reinvest that in expanding your operations, hire more employees. You get more job growth. If you have more job growth, you have more tax payers. So under the Reagan tax cuts of the 1980s, even though they slashed taxes, revenue to the government grew. More tax money came in because more people were working and more people were making more money. And so the government actually got more revenue from cutting taxes. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Now, the other side of this is the progressive side of the tax code, which is the wealthy in this country have more than enough money, okay, so that they should give more to the government so the government can do good things with it to help other people, which is kind of your more socialist, progressive view of taxation, okay? Now, where do we stand in comparison to other countries when it comes to taxation? You may not know this, but probably the lowest taxed people in the world are Mexicans. Some of the highest taxed people in the world are Europeans, and we are somewhere in the middle in the United States, okay? As I said the other day, like the highest tax bracket is about 39.6 for those making over 250. So millionaires, multimillionaires pay basically around 39.6%. Now, our Congress throughout the years has created all kinds of loopholes that people that have really good tax attorneys can find loopholes and not pay much in taxes, even though they make a lot of money. You following me? Okay. Now, I myself tend to be kind of a lower tax guy, but I think we need to get rid of some of these loopholes because you got super rich people like Jeff Bezos paying pennies. Okay. One of the things you need to understand about the tax code is this. I mean, there's lots of different kinds of taxes, right? And I talked about the federal income tax, okay, which we get with the 16th Amendment. And I told you that roughly 49% of all Americans do not pay any of this. We also have state income taxes, right? You have Social Security taxes, 6.2%, okay? Medicare that everybody pays, which I think is around 2.6, I think. Is it 3? 3? You know this?
I know it's something.
Okay.
I think it's 6.
Okay. Something like that. Okay. Then you have, this is a big one. Okay. Capital gains taxes. Okay. So you've heard of people flipping houses. Like you buy a house that's, you know, kind of run down. You buy it for $40,000. And then you put $20,000 in and fix it up. You got $60,000 in that house. You turn around and sell it for $70,000. You made a $10,000 profit. That is called a capital gain because you're using your money to make money with. Same thing if you invest in the stock market. So you invest in the stock market, you make $500, you sell that stock, you get the profit of $500, you pay a capital gains tax. You understand? So a lot of our rich people make their money here in capital gains. Okay, you remember the name Mitt Romney? He ran for president in 2012, and they criticized him because he paid lower tax rate. He's a multimillionaire, pays a lower tax rate than Warren Buffett's secretary. Okay, because he's paying capital gains, which at the time was about 27%. Whereas if you're making $100,000 a year or $80,000 a year, you're likely paying a little bit more than that. Somebody that's a millionaire. You see what I mean? So this is where you kind of get critical of the rich here. The problem is if you raise this, then you discourage people from investing because the taxes are so high. You follow me? So there's got to be a middle ground that we have to decide on, okay? As you probably are aware, Democrats tend to be more for more taxes, especially on the wealthy, and Republicans tend to be for lower taxes for everybody, okay? Our system is not set up to do the Medicare for all, the Green New Deals, and all the social welfare that Europe does, because not everybody pays taxes. As I was telling you before, if you look at Belgium, you got Bernie Sanders saying, we need what Belgium has. Okay, well, in Belgium, everybody pays taxes, even the poor, because they're the ones that are especially getting something out of the deal. In our system, you pay nothing to get something. You're not investing in yourself. You're getting it from somebody else for nothing. Follow me? So generally, guys, our members of Congress have no cojones. They've got no guts. They don't want to cause any pain for anybody. You know what I mean? So they try not to. Now, the rich are easy to pick on. You know what I mean? And can the rich afford to pay more? Yes. But what does that do to the overall economy? Because the rich are generally the job producers. That's how you become rich, is you own your own business. Very rarely will you get rich working for somebody else, going to your job. My dad used to say, okay? Because he worked for himself. Okay? He tried to get other people to work for him, say you don't have to go to your job anymore. Do this. Because he was an Amway guy. You guys heard of Amway? Okay. All right. You know the McInerney family? McInerney's? They're Carroll family. They did really well in the Amway business. Okay. But anyhow, so did my dad. You never heard of Amway?
It sounds like something Zeke would do, though. I think it's something Zeke would do. I don't know.
You think?
Yeah, Zeke would do it.
Okay, so listen. Amway makes products. Okay, so they make soap, dishwashing detergent, laundry detergent, vitamins. You can buy anything you buy at Walmart, Amway. Okay, but you sponsor me, okay, and I buy Amway products from you, okay, and then I sponsor Lily. This is me. This is Lily, okay, and when Lily buys Amway products from me, you get a cut. So it's like a pyramid scheme, but it went through the Federal Trade Commission because in the 1970s, Federal Trade Commission investigated Amway and said it's not a pyramid scheme. Okay, listen, you use the products. The only way to do this is to make it a lifestyle. Okay, you get in the business, you use the products. Okay, deodorant, toothpaste, everything. Okay, and if you get other people to use the products and just buy the products for themselves, and they get people. Okay. Now, once I reach a certain level with you, then I go direct to Amway. This is good for you because you get 6% of everything under me. And if you get 4 people that are direct with Amway, you make a lot of money. Okay, the McInerney's had 6 people that went direct. My dad went 4. Okay? He was bringing in $100,000 a year. This was in the 70s. Okay? Now, my dad spent like crazy. bought a new Cadillac every year. He bought a new house in Carmel, Indiana. That was a $100,000 house at the time in '76. And then it paid 13.5% interest on it, nearly went bankrupt. You know, my dad never saved anything because he knew the checks were going to keep coming. In fact, they're still coming. My dad's been dead for almost 20 years. Amway. Okay. Now, I tried it. I said, my dad was all over me to do it. Okay. And I tried it, and I'm like, Dad, I'm not good at this. Okay. But if you're good at talking to people, I can set you up with somebody.
I just think pyramid schemes sounds like something.
It does.
Wow.
He was picking on me all of third hour. I'm allowed to make fun of him.
You're not being serious. You're just picking
Andrew
on me.
Latham is the most.
I am kind of being serious. But
Okay.
this one would too.
Yeah. So guys, I still have some Amway products in my house today. I haven't ordered in a long time, but yeah, my dad's garage was full with Amway products, and they'd ship and all that. And, yeah, it's like being your own Walmart. And you know, they were actually kind of ahead of their day, because if you look at Amazon today, you know what I mean? All the stuff we order from Amazon, that's what Amway was doing 30 years ago. They'd ship it to your house. Okay, what are we talking about? Come on, guys, I gotta get through this stuff. Taxes. Okay, so you guys understand, there's all kinds of taxes. There's sin taxes. There's taxes on your phones. There's taxes. Okay, if you make a decent living in this country, altogether, you're roughly, throw sales tax in there, you're roughly paying 50% of what you make in taxes. So you work for 6 months out of the year to pay Uncle Sam, and the other 6 months of the year you work for yourself. Okay, that's how some people view taxes. Okay, some people say, hey, we need to pay taxes. I agree, we need to pay taxes. We need roads, we need bridges, we need infrastructure, we need that, we need cops, we need firefighters. Okay, it pays for all that. Now, all the other stuff on top of that, you may or may not disagree on, depending on how many yeses or nos you have on that sheet right now. Okay, so you decide whether you think we should lower taxes or we should tax more. Okay, how about that? What's next?
Against hate crime legislation.
Oh, we haven't done that yet?
No. We did hate crimes or hate speech.
Oh, okay. Yeah, hate crimes. I got a good one. And this is perfect timing. This is perfect timing. All right, we play Northwest Thursday, right?
Yes.
So tomorrow night, Wednesday night, somebody's going to come over here and try something sneaky, right?
Yeah.
They're going to put a T-shirt on Jesus, right? And maybe throw some toilet paper or something like that, okay? Harmless fun. Now, let's say they spray paint on the side of the school, and they say, Bishop Carroll stinks on the side of our school. What's the crime? Vandalism, right? Destruction of property, trespassing. Okay, boom, we got these punks. All right, now, let's say instead of writing Bishop Carroll stinks, they write Catholic stink. What's the crime? Vandalism.
Trespassing, destruction of property.
Or because it was focused on a religious minority, Catholics, we could see federal hate crime charges here. Yes, the federal government looking out after our civil rights as a Catholic institution. This is similar to somebody painting a swastika on a Jewish synagogue, or leaving a pound of bacon at the door of the mosque. Yeah, it's unclean. It's a hate crime.
That's right. They don't have.
Okay, it's a hate crime. Now, all right, come on. Let me go some more on this. Okay, you need to know the scenarios that this comes up. So a black guy and a white guy get in a fight. Okay, and in the commission of that fight. Now I don't know if you guys ever been in a fight before, like a real fight. But you want to talk about adrenaline. I'm serious, dude. When you're in a fight, your adrenaline is firing like you've never had before. Okay? Now, I've only been in two. Once was in 8th grade and we didn't hit each other in the face. So we were slugging each other like idiots in the chest and stomach. This redheaded, pudgy kid that I didn't like. Okay. It's probably when I got paddled. But anyhow, the other time was in college. Okay. And I went to junior college in North Florida. And we were the college kids, and then you had the rednecks. Okay, of the town, the locals. You know what I mean? So we were down by the river with a bonfire. We got a bunch of college kids hanging out, and locals show up. And this guy was talking smack, and it just kind of went back and forth. You know, me and this guy kind of squared up. Like, you want to go? And I'm like, let's go. And he got the worst of it. Now, the next day, my right hand was pretty chewed up from the punches that missed his face and hit the ground. And my coach noticed it. Oh, yeah. I spent the next doubleheader running around the perimeter of the school for about 4 hours. Okay. But what came out of my mouth while that was going on, I have no idea. You know what I mean? So you got a white guy and a black guy fighting, okay? And let's just say, for the sake of argument, the white guy wins. And in the commission of that fight, he called him the N-word. Okay? Bystanders hear it. They assume this white guy beat up this black guy because he is black. Okay? But what they don't know is what that black dude said about this white dude's mother. You don't talk about my mother. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have a problem. Okay, so the cops show up. Bystanders tell him, yeah, he was calling that and that and that. Okay, hey, civil rights hate crime. So, in essence, what the investigators are going to have to do is figure out what was going through your head while you committed that crime. Was this a hate crime based on this person's racial minority? Or was it just a fight? Okay, so you can add criminal charges. Now, I'm going to give you the history of this. Okay, because this really stems out of a situation of a guy named Matthew Shepard. You guys ever heard of Matthew Shepard? Matthew Shepard was a gay man living in Wyoming, young guy in his 20s. And he went into a bar. And these two guys obviously knew he was gay, figured it out. And they said, well, come with us. And they took him out in their pickup truck out to a remote area and beat him to death, left him hanging over a fence. Okay, this went national news, guys, national news. Okay, and so people are outraged by this, you know, and that you should be. I mean, this guy was killed because he was gay. This is in the 1980s. 1980s. And so these two guys, there's no hate crimes at this point, but hate crime legislation will start to flow from state legislatures and from the U.S. federal government. So there are laws on the book now for hate crimes, which generally are civil rights violations. So you punish them for the crime that they committed, then you add on a civil rights violation. Okay? Now, this was the case that kind of drove these laws. And what we found out later, this is a very brave individual that investigated this and wrote a book about Matthew Shepard's situation. And he has credibility because the author of the book was gay himself. And what he found out was Matthew Shepard, yes, he was gay, but he was also a drug dealer. And he was probably killed over a drug deal gone wrong with these two guys. Okay? Do you think the media reported that? Of course not, because it didn't fit the narrative that we're a homophobic society that goes around killing gay people. Okay? Now, are there crimes against gay people? Yes. Are there hate crimes against different races and religions? Yes. Okay? Now, do these laws actually prevent somebody from carrying out an attack like this? And if it does, then maybe it's a good law. Okay? Does it? How many of you guys knew these laws existed? Okay, because generally people that commit these kinds of crimes are ignorant to begin with and don't even know these laws exist. Am I right? So, the government's going to have to get into the mind of the perpetrator to figure out what was going through their head in some of these cases. Okay? Do I have this person?
Who is it?
Michael Anthony?
Oh, that's not
Oh, well, why don't they put your name on? I haven't gotten on that close of a basis with you. Michael Anthony.
Johnson.
Oh, I can see that.
There's a famous Michael Anthony, bassist for Van Halen. Yeah,
Okay.
Michael Anthony. Yeah.
So, who you thought of when you read Michael Anthony?
Yeah.
Or that was just now?
Yeah, dude. I was on my hike the other day, and my neighbors caught me playing the drums, listening to Van Halen. New ones. I was doing this. There's a song from 5150. They stopped the car. So it must be good music. I was Van Halen. Hate crimes. All right. So if you think we should have these laws and add additional penalties onto these types of crimes, say yes or say no. Okay. If you don't think we should have these laws, say yes. All right, good. 16, defend Taiwan from China. Because this one is, well, depends on who's president. Okay, listen. In 1948, Mao Zedong led a revolution in China, okay, to overthrow a guy named Chiang Kai-shek. We'll learn about Chiang Kai-shek, who's the Chinese dictator, okay, leading up and during World War II. Chiang Kai-shek, he was our friend, okay? Mao is a communist who lies in wait for the war to end. When the war ends, Mao Zedong and his communist followers strike out against Chiang Kai-shek's Chinese army. And the communists are going to win by 1949. So China falls to communism. Now Chiang Kai-shek fled the country with what was left of his army and his family to this island off the coast of China called Taiwan. At the time it was called Formosa. Okay? Chiang, who was a dictator of China, eventually passed away, and his wife, Madame Chiang, took over. She democratized Taiwan, declared independence from China, and ever since 1950, Taiwan has been recognized by the United States as a separate entity of China. They are democratic, they are capitalistic, and they are our friends. And every year since 1950, the United States Congress has passed a resolution saying that we will come to the defense of Taiwan if China tries to take it back by force. Now, the Taiwanese speak the same language as the Chinese. They have the same history, the same culture dating back millennia. China wants it back. Now, Taiwan can defend itself somewhat because anything the Chinese do, they're going to invade, they're going to have to do an amphibious landing. And so an island can defend itself, its shorelines, especially if it has good weapons, which they do, because they bought them from us. Now, during different periods of time, the Chinese have run military exercises and so forth off the coast of Taiwan and so forth. In the mid-90s, they were lofting missiles off the coast of Taiwan. President Bill Clinton sent the U.S. 7th Fleet with an aircraft carrier through the Strait of Taiwan to say to the Chinese, not so fast. We have Taiwan's back. Okay? Now, subsequent presidents, W. Bush, Obama, Trump probably more than the others, have not been really speaking out on behalf of Taiwan. Now, guys, Taiwan does not flaunt its independence. They do not mean to antagonize the Chinese, you understand. They don't want to rattle the cage. They don't want to wake up the sleeping giant, if you will, okay? So I remember a few years ago, when my buddy was running the NBC baseball tournament. You guys know the NBC baseball tournament downtown they hold every summer?
Sure.
Okay. They do. For 87 years they've been doing this. Okay. And he brought in a team from Taiwan. Okay. The capital of Taiwan is Taipei. And they called themselves Chinese Taipei. Not to offend Chinese. Okay. So what will happen? Okay, and what happened in Afghanistan this week? Well, with what happened, does this project strength from the United States at this point in time? No. Not really. Okay, because we left, and this is stuff we got. I mean, like, think about it. We left $85 billion worth of military equipment to Afghan military, which is now in the hands of the Taliban. They went from a band of radical little Muslims called the Taliban, okay, to one of the most powerful armies in the world with $85 billion of American military equipment. Billion. Now, okay, I don't even know what to say about it. I mean, it's crazy. Okay? I mean, military helicopters, some of the greatest technology in the world. The Taliban guys are going to need money because the money that we've been helping Afghanistan with, their government, which is foreign aid, we're not giving that to the Taliban. At least I don't think we are. So they're going to need money. So who are they going to sell these helicopters to? To China and Russia. So they can study them and figure out our technology. The Chinese are great at this, guys. Stealing our intellectual property. Okay, they're really good at this. Okay, it's a lot cheaper to send in people to spy on the United States than to develop the research and development to come up with this technology. So much cheaper to steal. Okay, and they're good at it. And so the Taliban would be like, all right, we need some money, China. Okay, guys, there's a lot of mineral rights in Afghanistan. Okay, guess who's buying up those mineral rights? China. Okay. Now, hey, is it good that the 20-year war is over? Yeah, I think so. It's probably good. It needed to end. I'm not sure how we went about it was the best way. You guys can judge for yourselves. Okay. And I'm really not trying to be political here, guys. This is our country. I'm worried about our country. Okay? This is where 9/11 spawned from, Afghanistan. Terrorist groups were allowed to live and operate freely in Afghanistan. And chances are they're going to be likely to be able to do so again. Okay? Now, in my history class, I just went through a whole week on that. You'll get that next semester. Right? Oscar and Ruby are experts on this stuff. You know what I'm talking about, though, at least, right? You know? Okay, so back to Taiwan. Now, what? Yeah. Well, they were called the Mujahideen at the time. Yeah. Not really the Taliban. Now, some Taliban fighters may have been involved with that. Okay. All right. So, here we go. If China tries to take it back, and we go to defend Taiwan, now we have the greatest navy in the world. All right, does China have the ability to take out our aircraft carriers? Yes. Yes. Supersonic. Supersonic. Okay, that we can't shoot down at this point. So, guys, if we do this, Americans are going to die, ships are going to be lost. Now, we're not going to fight this on Chinese soil. That would be stupid. Okay, there's 1.3 billion Chinese. Okay, you're not going to fight on Chinese soil. Okay, so this is going to be on the sea and in the air. Can we win? Yes. Can we defend Taiwan? Yes. Will it come at a cost? Yes. Okay, if we don't stand up to China here, what's going to prevent them from the next thing they want? Now, from the Chinese perspective, hey, that's our island. They want it back. Who's it for us to say? Now, guys, this is why we study history. Guys, we've been trying to contain communism since 1945. We did it in Europe, we did it in Asia, and Vietnam, and Korea, where we went and fought wars to stop the spread of communism. Like you just mentioned, arming the Mujahideen to fight against the Soviets when they invaded Afghanistan in 1979. Okay, so we've been doing this, and we've made promises. Now, guys, we have allies in the region. Guys, Australia is our friend. South Korea is our friend. Japan is one of our best friends. If we abandon Taiwan, these allies of ours are going to look for new friends for protection. Yeah. You know, so are we. Okay, yeah, but that, I mean, you can change that. I mean, you can switch over to us or Europe or whatever. I mean, actually, if you listen to some Australian politicians, I mean, they're very strong against China. Okay, and what they're trying to do right now. Okay, so now I'm sure they're just like in America, guys, where where the Chinese are enslaving the Uyghur people, right? How many of you guys are aware of this? Modern day slavery in China, right? What are we doing about it? The NBA, does LeBron James give a crap about the forced slavery of these people? No, it's all about the money, man. It's all about the money. Disney, do they care about the slavery that's going on? I mean, listen to this. I mean, this is crazy. Does our media even barely report it? Where's our stance for humanitarian rights? The United States, it's all about the buck. Okay? It's hypocrisy at the highest level. I'll go through this with you. I mean, just the transfer of wealth from the United States to China from the 1990s forward is enormous. The transfer of wealth. Okay? We built China's economy. You and I. Where'd you get the shoes you're wearing? Where'd you get the shirt you're wearing? Where'd you get the goods to fill your house up with? Most of them are made in China.
Dominican Republic.
Very nice.
Not yet, Dominican Republic.
Sweet.
They like the Dominicans.
Sure we do.
They make some pretty good cigars.
Not as good as Cuban. Okay. Indonesia. Do you know where that is? Where?
It's an archipelago. It is. Look, it's purple on the map. Yeah.
Indonesia. Which is the largest Muslim country in the world. Indonesia. Okay. All right, what are we talking about? You decide. Are we going to send our sons and daughters to defend Taiwan, stop China from taking it back? You decide. All right, 17. How much time I got? Sweet. All right, 17. All right, guys, this is kind of a philosophical thing. It's not a huge deal. Okay. You guys heard of the United Nations, right? Okay, the United Nations is an international organization with over 200 countries that are, members. Okay, there are five countries on the UN Security Council: United States, Britain, France, not sure why, China, and Russia. Those 5 countries can veto anything in the United Nations. So if they put something through the UN that's anti-American, we can veto it. If we do something that's anti-Chinese, like punish the Chinese for slavery, they can veto it. Okay? So, and that's the only way we were going to join, is if we had veto power, which I like. Okay? Now, the UN sometimes does peacekeeping missions. One of the goals of the UN is to promote peace and cooperation between countries. And when that peace is violated and there's a war, sometimes the UN will send in peacekeepers. They wear that North Carolina blue helmet. You know what I'm talking? Okay, like look at your pencil bag right there, like that color. Okay, and so sometimes these UN peacekeeping troops, like in let me talk about Kosovo in Southern Europe, in the 1990s. Okay, there was a war in Serbia between Muslims and Christians. Between Muslims and Christians. And the leader of the Christians, there was a guy named Slobodan Milosevic. Milosevic is a war criminal. Basically, he was committing genocide in Europe in the 1990s. This is where you would separate, because in Serbia, in the southern part, a place called Kosovo, you had a large Muslim population, and he hated the Muslims. And so what he did was what's called ethnically cleanse his country of Muslims. And how you do that, guys, is you separate the men and the women. You kill the men, you rape the women, and the children that they wear begin to do begin to do away with that ethnicity. You follow me? This is going on in Europe in the 1990s. The United States got involved, okay, and NATO got involved, and we did by air. We took out Milosevic, so we're going after the Christian guy protecting the Muslims, okay, and made it difficult for him to continue that genocide, okay? He went on the run. Now, guys, do you think the Muslim people that survived that are just going to, like, the next day forgive the Christians there? No, they're going to want revenge. So we send in UN peacekeepers, okay? You with me? Now, these peacekeepers are going to be multinational. So you're going to have troops from maybe the United States, from Pakistan, from Canada, from Nigeria, wherever, okay? Now, somebody's got to be in charge of that UN mission. So the commander of that mission is going to be from a certain country. Could be an American commander, could be a French commander, could be an Indian commander, what have you, okay? In this peacekeeping mission, we had 2 U.S. soldiers that were part of the mission, but they were placed under French command. Now, when you join the United States military, you pledge to defend the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. You also pledge to take orders from your commanding officer. Now, I'm not sure if there's anything in there about taking orders from a foreign commander. These guys refused to take orders from the French commander. That they would only take orders from the American commander. They were court-martialed and sent to Leavenworth. Okay? Now, is this a huge deal? If it's better for the mission, in some parts of the world, Americans are loved. In some parts of the world, they're not. So maybe it makes sense to have a commander from a different country where they're more liked. I don't know. But should American troops be placed under foreign command? That's the question. Is it that big of a deal? If it's better for the mission, it's not that big of a deal. Let them do it. But on principle, you might say, well, wait a second. I don't sign up for the U.S. military to take orders from a Pakistani general. Sorry, not doing it. This is just kind of, how do you think about things? Okay? So, should U.S. troops be placed under foreign command, under UN? You decide. That was fast. And explained very well, I believe. Okay. All right. Opposed to bailouts for auto and financial industries. Okay, we got to go back to 2008, people, okay? Good. You're stealing my thunder. Okay. Let's just throw it out there. You saw it. Jenny had Wagers saw it, right? Did you see Wagers class? Okay. Big Short, the movie?
I never watched it. I know what it is.
Okay. Okay, now it's rated R. Okay, and it's weird. It's actually funny. Okay, now the movie doesn't tell you the whole thing. And I have what, 4 minutes? No
Yeah.
freaking way. Okay, but I'm going to start it. Okay, I'm going to start this. All right, so let me go back to the Great Depression in 1929, real quick. Okay, guys, we had businesses failing left and right. The government at the time, under Herbert Hoover, okay, said, we're not bailing you out. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Okay, if you cannot survive as a business, it's not the job of the government to bail you out. Okay, fast forward 88 years, okay, to 2008. President Bush is leaving office. Obama's coming into office. Okay, and we have ourselves a bona fide financial crisis. And most of this is surrounding the housing market. Okay, home prices in this country continue to rise and rise and rise. The values of people's homes. Okay, and the government was really trying to encourage people to buy homes. That's the American dream. Okay, now what groups in our country tend to be underrepresented in home ownership? Minorities. Okay, now if you want to buy a house, most people don't save up $100,000 and pay cash for a house. You get a what?
Whoa.
You get a mortgage, which is a loan. Okay, now to get a mortgage, you got to go to a bank and say, hi, I'm Charlie Ebright. I'd like to borrow $80,000 from you. They're like, you have a job? Yes, I've had a job for 23 years. How much money do you make? Okay. What other debt do you have? Okay. Then look at all your financials. How long you've had that job and so forth, right? And they determine whether you are a risk to borrow money or not. Okay? Guys, you've heard of a credit score? I have a great credit score. I have a better credit score than my wife. Last time we bought her a vehicle, they checked our credit. Dude, they're like, oh, we'll loan you as much money as you want. Okay? Because we pay our bills. That's how you get your credit. You borrow money, you pay it back. And I've been doing that. My wife's been doing that for a long time. Never missed a payment. Good credit. Okay? Now, what about people that don't have good credit or don't have any credit or haven't held down a job for very long? You going to loan them money? Okay, now.
Yes. They want to make money. Interest rates.
Well, yeah, so you put a higher interest rate on those people, but let me get to that. Okay, so Congress is pissed because banks are not loaning money to certain groups of people. Follow me?
Yeah.
This has a racial component to it. All right, so Congress puts pressure on the banks to offer more high-risk loans to people. So they start doing it. Okay, now, guys, when you go borrow money, you get an interest rate. Never borrow money with a variable interest rate because the interest rate can go up or down. When it goes down, your payment goes down. When it goes up, your payment goes up. So one of the ways to get around risky lending is to give that individual a variable interest rate or a higher interest rate. Follow me? Okay. So I have to pick up from there tomorrow about how with these interest rates and bad loans that go out and how this is going to happen. Okay? And hey, yeah, if you're not doing anything tonight, watch The Big Short and you'll understand a lot more.
75% of my kids at least